let's get into it. So the first place I want to start off with really is Plettigol. Florian Plettenberg, obviously based in Germany, and the reason I like this update is because he has got good contacts in Germany, and obviously we're going to be talking about Sesko. So he had this to say. He said, there are talks with interested clubs, and it is our understanding that Man United are targeting Sesko. He is one of 2 targets to be their new number 9, and the other one is Nicolas Jackson. I cannot close the door to possible Chelsea interest, so let's see what happens in the next 2 or 3 weeks with Sesko. And I think that is realistic. Welcome to the Members Club, by the way, Eshmi Diki, Peter, appreciate that. But yeah, look, I think I don't like this story. I would rather it was Sesko, Moani, Watkins, and maybe an audacious bid for Gyökeres. I do not like Nicolas Jackson being in this conversation, and he's in it too much. And the reason he's in it is because Man United are considering it. We can't deny it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we can't deny the fact that we're definitely interested, because Romano's spoken about it, Plettigol's spoken about it, other journalists and outlets have spoken about it. So we're definitely looking at it, and it's concerning. And I would say, if you don't want this, scream and shout and let it all out. Do a tweet, do a post, whatever. Get in the comments. United will monitor it. They're very aware of these sort of things, and it won't necessarily stop them doing it. But I think they need to realise that for a lot of United fans, we're adamantly against this. It's not one of those deals where you go, oh, I might get convinced. Like, we're adamantly against this. And look, I know it upsets people like Rio, who doesn't like the fact that players might not be wanted because it might upset their friends and family, but they're paid handsomely. And we have paid a lot of players over the last 10 years a lot of money, and they've not delivered. We don't want risks, and we don't want players that have been at other clubs and they don't want them. And that's what Nicolas Jackson represents. Forget anything else. Forget his finishing. Forget whose DMs he slides into. The most important thing about Nicolas Jackson to me is he's a Chelsea player they don't want, that we're going to fund a rival. And the hypocrisy and stupidity of funding Chelsea is amazing when we're meant to be a football club that wants to be where Chelsea are. You can't be where Chelsea are if you give them money for players they don't want so they can buy better players we can't get. You just don't do this. And the thing is, if Nicolas Jackson was Viktor Gyökeres and for some reason Chelsea didn't want him, I'd say let's do it. But he's Nicolas Jackson. There are multiple players we could get who are better than him, who are at clubs that I don't mind giving money to. But I don't want to fund Chelsea.
Hello everybody, today's clip is supported by Sleeper. Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit more about Sleeper. This app is making serious waves. It was the #1 downloaded sports app in the US during the NFL season, even beating heavyweights such as ESPN and Yahoo. Sleeper isn't just popular, it's because they truly deliver the best fantasy experience. You get deeper customization, more league options, and all the bells and whistles that make managing your fantasy team a blast. But that's not all. Sleeper is growing a fantastic community with several million people using it daily for their sports fix. Sleeper has a broad appeal and is genuinely built for everyone. So, if you're looking to up your fantasy game, make sure to check out Sleeper by clicking the link in the video description. Trust me, you won't regret it.
And it's interesting what Plettigol says, because he actually says, I can't close the door on Chelsea going for Sesko. So what you're basically saying is, Man United might go for Jackson, and then that'll give Chelsea the money to go for Sesko. So I think this is really logical that we do not do this deal. And I think that sometimes we can't change the owners. We can't stop the stadium being knocked down. Maybe you don't want to change the owners. Maybe you don't want maybe you want the stadium to be knocked down. We can't change those things. But we can be vocal about things, and we can be vocal about this. And I think it's an absolute crime that we're looking or being linked to this. United need to shut it down. And also, am I not right in saying that people don't talk about... It's funny when people talk about Nicolas Jackson to Manchester United and they talk about Sesko. And as we understand it, Sesko's price, the price is important. That's where I'm going with this. Get your comments in, of course, I'll read them out. But the interesting thing about Sesko and Nicolas Jackson is that with Sesko, we know the price is around 70 million plus add-ons, right? It's a lot of money. But contextually, Liverpool have just paid 78 for Ekitike. Gyökeres is going to go for about 60. Benjamin Sesko is in a different scenario where he's a bit younger, and Leipzig have seen what Wirtz have gone for. It's very relevant what Ekitike has gone for Frankfurt, because Ekitike is around the same age as Sesko, and he plays in the same league, and it's a Bundesliga team. So you can't compare Gyökeres' deal or Osman's deal to Sesko's deal. You've got to look at Ekitike. And Ekitike has gone for 78. So if you can do the Sesko deal for 70, it makes sense. So I haven't got a problem with that fee. We probably can't afford it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But no one talks about the price for Nicolas Jackson. Most people don't want him. Most people are terrified of it. But I think the people who want him don't actually figure out the price. AC Milan were looking at him a couple of weeks ago, and Chelsea wanted 100 million. I heard somebody on social media last night go, for 30 million, I think Nicolas Jackson's worth a punt. Where have you pulled 30 million from? Your backside? Shove it back. It's not 30 million. Chelsea aren't going to let Nicolas Jackson go for 30 million. I don't know what they paid for him, but they will want more than what they paid for him. Now, if anyone can tell me in the chat what they paid for him, I'd appreciate that. But they're going to want big money. Big money. Ryan is always in the chat. He's a Chelsea fan. Ryan, you're doing Chelsea's work here. You're not his agent. He says, Nicolas Jackson loves champers. 50 million, please, Sir Jim. Loving the 10 a.m. studio show, Mark, says Nick B. And looking good, Mark. Champers. Love that. There we go. Ryan's up on the chat. This is what we can do in the studio. We can put it up on there. So, yeah, I don't know what Chelsea actually paid for him. Let me have a look if we've got anybody in the chat telling us this. But it is worth considering that they paid £32 million for him. Thank you very much, Paul Govier, Reagan, etc. They paid £32 million for him, so they're going to want 50. They're going to want 50 minimum. I'm out. Forget about it. And I tell you what, if they sold us him for 40, look, let's close the Nicolas Jackson story down and talk about Sesko and everything else and Ndidi and everything. I've just ruined the story there. Let's close this down. Most of us don't want him. He's not particularly good. He's a Chelsea reject. We shouldn't be funding Chelsea. And there's probably, sliding into idiots' DMs and all that. There's big reasons not to want Nicolas Jackson. But if Chelsea did us a deal for 40 million, they're selling him cheap because he's crap. If they try and sell him at value, they're going to want 50 million plus. If we're paying 50 million plus for Nicolas Jackson, why can't you find another 15 to get Sesko? Why wouldn't you just offer Villa that for Watkins? Why wouldn't you pay less than that for Moani? So I'm out. This makes no sense at all. Absolutely not. With Sesko, we're going to have to fund this by sales. And I would imagine Garnacho is key. Rashford, Barcelona will happen. And that will save us a certain amount of money on wages. And Mbumo will be done today. But if we're going to get Sesko, we're going to have to create money to do that. I am encouraged because Romano keeps talking about it. Again, this morning, we've got talk about Favel. I'm absolutely convinced that in the boardroom at Manchester United, it will be Sesko, the number one. But the problem will be, I think Barada, I think Wilcox, I think Favel, I think Amorim, they're all going to be saying Sesko. But the guy who writes the cheque, Joel Glazer, he might be saying Nicolas Jackson. And I tell you who will definitely be saying Nicolas Jackson, Mr. Champers, because he's a Chelsea fan. No, I don't know. But financially, it might just not be doable with Sesko, and that's when it becomes a problem for us. So we have to bear that in mind. I think it's obvious. Anybody's going to go Sesko over Nicolas Jackson, but it's going to come down to finances and whether we can do it. Now, interestingly, what I was told last night, because great 8 o'clock show again last night, of course, but what I was told last night was obviously we had something from the Rashford story yesterday about it not being true. So I was like, well, what's this Gyökeres story? And what I was told is that Amrin wants Gyökeres. He's always wanted Gyökeres. Why wouldn't you want Gyökeres? Amrin wants a striker. 100% he wants Gyökeres. He's worked with him. He's a brilliant player. He suits his system. Amrin wants Gyökeres. Delap's off the table. Osman's off the table. Of course he wants Gyökeres. But Gyökeres wants Arsenal. Now, if Man United find the money to go for Sesko, or if they've got 50 million to go for Jackson, of course they'd offer 60 million for Gyökeres. But Gyökeres is lying on a beach in Mallorca and he wants Arsenal. So in relation to the brief from Sporting, Man United haven't put a bid in. Man United haven't done anything. I think what Man United are basically saying is, if he had any interest in coming to Man United and was becoming frustrated with Arsenal, then we'll get involved. But we can't get involved at the moment. And that's basically what Gyökeres Man United situation is. Of course, there's an appreciation of the player. Of course, Amrin would want him. And of course, Man United would be willing to do a deal with Sporting that probably is better than the one Arsenal are doing. But the player would have to say he wants to come to Man United, and he's not at the moment. So that's where we are with that.
Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video, because we all know only legends like videos, and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video, and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, as always.